What's up everybody, Demon back and welcome to a brand new video. This one is going to be doing the first episode of a new series I'm going to be doing, which is just the Q and A kind of videos. I will separate them into Godzilla related, Walking Dead if you ever want them, and like King Kong and that kind of thing. So this one is going to be doing the first episode of the Godzilla Q and A. Now this is a different thing than Godzilla Explained. Godzilla Explained is going to be doing like more in-depth, like explaining why this happens, how it happens, that kind of thing, like I did with the atomic breath and like I've done with the timeline. As of now, I'm not done with the timeline. I'm still just waiting to, finally work my way up to doing the Millennium series because it is a very convoluted timeline. So eventually I'll get there, and by eventually I mean soon. It's going to be Christmas break soon. I will sit down, record all the Godzilla-thons, probably not all of them, because, really quick explanation, all the files for Godzilla-thon got corrupted, that's why there's been no Godzilla-thons. I haven't brought myself to re-recording them all, it takes a long time, and it just is kind of bumming that all those hours of Godzilla-thon got deleted. So, anyways, into the Godzilla Q and A that I'm going to be doing. I take your questions from the comments. I've already taken a bunch of yours from the comments when you were just asking me, and I've thrown it in here for a Q and A. We're going to start out with, Miguel Bunagan. I definitely messed up your name, and I apologize about that. But he asks, Godzilla, Kiryu, or Shin Gojira. He doesn't specify what he means by that. That was just the question. It was just those three names with a question mark. So what I'm assuming he means is, who do I like more? The obvious answer is Godzilla, the original. Not Shin Gojira, not Kiryu, just plain old Godzilla. That is by far my favorite. Kiryu technically is the 54 Godzilla, which is my other question, was if he was going to be referring to if they were all the same thing. Now we know the answer. No, they're not. Gojira and Kiryu are the same thing technically, because Godzilla's bones were put into Mechagodzilla's body, and that is what powered him. Now, Shin Gojira was a completely different thing entirely, different continuity and everything like that, so no, there's no relation there, but who do I like more? Just simply Godzilla. Now, I have another question from XVII J, and he asks, or they asked, favorite Godzilla design. Now, this is a tricky question for me to answer because I love so many of them. Probably my favorite Godzilla designs from Showa series, I'm going to do it like this. My favorite Showa series designs are a tie between the Godzilla 62 design, the Godzilla 64 design, and the Godzilla 74-75 design. One of those three is going to wind up being my favorite. That's a hard question for me to answer because I love those three so much that really it's very tricky. Heisei Series 89, that's a great suit right there. 89 suit, or maybe Burning Godzilla, that's a really cool one, but 89 I think just, it has a really classic feel while at the same time feeling really awesome and new. Now for the Millennium series, which is my favorite Godzilla design, yeah, GMK. That's probably my favorite Millennium series design with Shin Gojira, whether it's monster A, B, or C. It's gonna be C. It's gonna be just a plain old Godzilla. Now is a question from Godzilla 2004, who asks, the strongest and most powerful Godzilla atomic breath. Definitely the Final Wars Red Spiral. He uses it once at the end of the movie, and it demolishes Kaiser Ghidorah. It throws him out of the atmosphere, which would take a tremendous amount of force, and then it obliterates him once he enters the atmosphere. So it is just incredibly powerful. Now, I have just some general questions that I've seen asked by multiple people, so there's no one credited for these. What's your favorite Godzilla movie? My favorite Godzilla movie is King Kong vs. Godzilla. It was the first Godzilla movie I ever saw. I grew up on that movie. I am really nostalgic about that movie. I absolutely love it so much. I watch it tons of times a year, just randomly. You know what? I want to watch a Godzilla movie. Pop that one in. That's my favorite one. I love it. Yeah, it is pretty campy, but I don't have a problem with that. Now here's the question. Where does Shin Gojira rank in my favorite Godzilla movies? It is definitely towards the higher end of my top 15s, as in like higher towards number 1 and 2 and 3. It is up there. It's not in my top 5, and I really would have to sit down and think about it for a long, long time. What are my top 10 favorites? It's probably around like 6 to 8, probably somewhere like 6, 7, or 8 maybe. It's definitely in my top 10, and if not, it is 100% in my top 15. It is an amazing movie. Very deep stuff when you know the allegory going on, and I absolutely love that movie. There's that HD leak that everyone loves, and then there's my version, which is the more fuller of the movie. So if you want to check out the mostly full Shin Gojira, longer than the HD leak, go check out my Facebook and my channel links. Don't if you don't want to. So now the final question is from Godzilla 2004 again, and he asks, D-Man, I got a request here. Could the Anime Godzilla film be a possible sequel for Shin Gojira? And could Toho really be hiding this from us? Now, if you don't know what he's talking about, there is an Anime Godzilla film coming out in 2017. It is 100% up for debate what it is. No one knows. There's just a picture of these two dudes standing right next to a spaceship staring off into a jungle. What could this mean? No idea. I'm going to say no. That there is no connection here between Shin Godzilla, because you guys have been complaining about the fact that I've been saying Shin Gojira weird instead of saying Shin Gojira, because the Japanese people say I say that weird, so it's just a cycle of complaining. So I'm just going to actually say, Shin Godzilla. No, I don't think there's a connection here between Shin Godzilla and the Godzilla anime. Here's why. Because the anime was announced before Shin Godzilla got an international release, and before it really, before... I believe the movie was out in Japan by the time the anime got announced. I could be wrong on that. I believe it was out in Japan, and a lot of people really liked the movie in Japan, the highest grossing movie in Japan 2016, so possibly I think there's like a 2% chance that they're related. Now, what I think is more likely is that they saw the success of Shin Godzilla and said, you know what? Everyone loves Godzilla, so we're going to give him an anime finally after all this time. I don't think it's going to be an EVAN crossover. I think they would already be, making that pretty clear, although we do have the EVAN Godzilla crossover art, that kind of thing, and EVAN is, Hideaki Anno's his baby, so, he also did Shin Godzilla, but no, I really don't think that there's going to be a connection here. I think what is more likely, they saw that Godzilla is very successful nowadays, and they decided to give him an anime. It is going to be completely unrelated. My thoughts are it's going to take place in the future of that version of Godzilla's timeline, and that's going to be the story. I mean, it's very obviously not our world, because you have that spacecraft, and I don't think it's Shin Godzilla's world, because that world is a more grounded in reality world instead of one that has like these flying hovercrafts. We don't see it fly, but it is very obviously a hovercraft. So that does it for episode 1 of Godzilla Q and A. Leave your comments and questions down below. I will pick out my favorites, or maybe all of them if I don't get a lot, and I will compile them into another list and do another Godzilla Q and A someday. So thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. D-Man out.